Next, we have Kristina Persson, who is the Swedish Minister within the Prime Minister's office, and with responsibility for strategic development and Nordic cooperation. Minister Persson's work involves pursuing the long-term development of ideas at the government offices. This is a portfolio I wish had existed when I had been a minister. There was no place for long-term ideas, so that's very innovative. This includes the green transition, jobs and distribution, and initiatives to influence the global agenda for sustainable development. Minister, we welcome your contribution.
Thank you very much, Simon. I'm happy to be here, and I do wish I had many colleagues in the world. So welcome back to government. You may join me.
Yes, how many ministerial meetings of long-term ministers are there?
I'm still looking for colleagues around the world, but of course there are institutes and there are other ministers concerned with the long term. But we need to be more, and we need to have more focus on long term instead of being reactive as the work of government often is. And in my role, my mission is, of course, to pursue the policy development to meet the challenges which are of the grand kind, of the long-term challenges. And when I pursue my agenda, I can see most important part of it is, of course, our vision to become one of the world's first fossil-free countries. And this means fossil-free transport system, and it means 100% renewable energy system. We have come quite far there. And also, as a part of it, a carbon-neutral society at the latest by 2050. I think it could come sooner than that, and especially when I hear what is happening in the business world and the financial sector, I'm becoming more and more hopeful. So these very ambitious goals were expressed by our Prime Minister this year at the opening of the Parliament. And I think it has, so much has happened since Copenhagen. Today, it's not only morally just and socially indispensable, but it's becoming more and more economically smart to be aware of the necessity of a sustainable, long-term sustainable future. So our ambitions are sending also clear policy signals to the financial sector. We really want to have a paradigm shift towards sustainable future. And to achieve this, we will need the support from the transition of the financial markets. We need them to become drivers for low carbon and resource efficient investments. So let me give you an example. Sustainable development is now, from this year onwards, a new objective for the development of the financial markets according to our government bill. And this is together with financial stability. I believe that Sweden might be one of the first, or maybe the first, government to have this goal. And we have identified 6 different processes that are important for this, including green bond markets and assessment of potential effects of climate and environmental risks for financial stability. And my own expert group for the green transformation has already put forward a number of policy proposals on sustainability-driven investments for green transformation and competitiveness, which will be presented today later at the Nordic Pavilion. So welcome to be present there too. However, I would like to make it clear that these visions will not be possible to realize unless we have the financial sector and the business sector on board. We need your financial plans and business plans that are both long-term and credible. In other words, there is a strong need for joint efforts to innovate within the financial sector. We need to be there, governments need to be there to create the right conditions, and you need to be there to innovate together with us. It's very encouraging to listen to our Nordic actors who already today are front runners, like the decarbonization experience and sustainable finance of AP4 and Nordea. And on green bonds, we have SEB as an absolute forerunner. Decarbonization experience. They are doing a very good job on green investments. And also we have the Nordic Investment Bank, who is being developed into more and more green bank. We have also many Nordic countries who have signed the Portfolio Decarbonization Coalition, the PDC, as you mentioned, Simon, more than compared to other regions and countries. So I think the Nordic frontrunners have definitely left the trade-off thinking between sustainability and financial performance. So instead, there is a clear and increasingly powerful shift from seeing environmental and social issues as a CSR issue or a risk managing, going forward to seeing them instead as performance drivers and new business opportunities. I hope that maybe the Nordic capitals could become green finance capitals. We are no finance capitals today, but we could become green finance capitals. But much more homework needs to be done. I think the Nordic politicians, we need to give a few regulatory pushes to scale up these great initiatives from the private sector. We need to create increased certainty for investors through long-term climate, energy and environment policy signals and regulatory frameworks of, for instance, public-private partnership kind. And we need also to have increased diversity of funding channels and instruments. We need to scale up the green bond markets. And we need to develop innovative guarantee mechanisms for green investments. And we need greater transparency for investors through regulations on climate risk and carbon footprint disclosures, as well as sustainability reporting. And the Nordic countries are also strongly committed to climate finance, not least within this UNFCCC process. Sweden is a major donor to international climate financing. We are the largest donor per capita to the Green Climate Fund. But we see the Paris Agreement that we are expecting to get only as a start. Climate finance is a key issue in order to achieve further breakthroughs on mitigation of climate change. So we must look beyond Paris to create other political initiatives and momentum for more ambitious actions on a global scale. I just got back from a trip to China. And as you may know, green finance has become a priority in China's forthcoming G20 presidency. And the new G20 working group has been or will be set up and co-chaired by People's Bank of China and Bank of England and will be focusing on green finance. And I hope that the Nordic countries together could play a role and make a meaningful contribution in this work during next year. Sweden has, together with other Nordic countries, substantial experience and practice in this field, and we should consider the possibility of working on green finance with China and other G20 members regarding this strategic issue, such as green bond markets, development of innovative financial institutions specialized in green finance, and also engaging long-term institutional investors in sustainability-driven investments. So to summarize, I believe that the Nordics could play an important role as soft powers in Europe and in a global context. And I believe also that we should do this by taking the lead in green finance, supporting a sustainability and innovation-driven transformation of our models and lifestyle. And by this, we could take a lead, continue to take a lead in the transformation of both Europe and the world into a green economy. Thank you.